Hey everybody out there, we're with my friend today, and he's going to be doing a zombie swarm deck, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
For the most part, yes.
And as you can see off there in the corner, his nickname is actually Judge Man. Yes, and he has the Judge play mat to go with it, yes. So, I mean, it's lovely. We call him Judge Man. But without further ado, I'll let the Judge Man take over.
Alright, for this deck, basically, the first card that I like to cover is Mathematician. This card is actually very key. I play two because it is very key to the deck for setting up your graveyard. For zombies, they activate mostly out of the graveyard to be able for their deck style to play, because your graveyard is a secondary hand for you. And this card being able to send something like a Mizuki or any other card like Goblin Zombies, anything that activates in the graveyard later on in the game.
Yep.
It makes this card, it makes it open up that. And also getting an additional draw is pretty helpful because this deck runs out of hand very quickly. So being able to put pressure on your opponent very quickly because they don't want to deal with this card if they don't have to, making you get the draws. The next card for this deck plays a lot of darks.
Yes,
so
I have to talk about this for a second if you don't mind.
dark cards.
So, how many of these do you have again? Of the
secrets, I only have the one.
Oh, you only have the one? Okay.
Yes.
For some reason, you had two for a second. But this is really cool, guys. Let me show you this. To you old school players out there, you probably know about Dark Arm and Dark Arm Return and Teledad. This man has a near mint first edition Dark Arm Dragon. So I'm just going to zoom in on that for you guys for a second. Just look at that. That's first edition secret.
It's so pretty.
That card was worth a boatload of money to you old school players out there. You know that. So I just want to show you that. So I'll let him get back to work though.
The way that Dark Arm usually works is basically when I'm going for the OTKs, I use him as a first to blow up their backboard, and if there's any cards I don't feel like dealing with, a lot of times he's usually the killing card, because I'll make a big giant board of Exceeds or Synchros, and then I'll drop Dad, and they're like, oh, they have to deal with this first. So if I have back row, I make them use it then, before I go into extensive plays.
It's just so beautiful.
For the next card, I play two Summoner Monks.
All right.
Summoner Monk is a great card for opening up your ability to play out of your hand, because it's like, that's great. But Summoner Monk is like, if you have a handful of spells, it's like it usually can be pretty dead, and it's like for your hand can be dead. So Summoner Monk allows you to go into your extensive plays.
Yeah.
So if you want to make a 3-card rank 4, or if you want to go into multiple Exceeds, this card is the card to let you do it. It's usually a pretty open, like if you draw with this card first turn, it's usually pretty consistent for getting at least 2 Exceeds on your board first turn, or a Synchro. For the main heart of the deck is Zombie Master.
Oh yeah, and these are the ulti ones too, right?
Ulti first stats, yes.
The nostalgia factor.
This card is basically the heart and soul plays of this deck. If you Zombie Masters, you pitch a zombie from your hand to the grave, or any monster card from your hand to the graveyard to special summon a zombie out of your graveyard, which goes in sync with Mathematician.
Oh, okay, I see.
So Mathematician comes first, and you send a zombie from your graveyard, and that makes this guy super alive, because then he activates his effect. You can activate his effect to allow you to discard to summon. So basically, it lets you make any kind of Exceed, or if you have a level 4 tuner, it makes any kind of level 7, 8, whatever you need. Because with this guy, is usually like, if you're going for a play, he usually starts first. You usually make him first, and then go into your plays. The newest edition is Unizombie ×2.
Yes, very good card.
Unizombie is a very versatile card that lets you go into either Exceeds or into Synchros if you choose to. Because if his effect to send to the graveyard is actually very key to the deck.
Yep.
Because it allows you to open up your plays. Because zombies, like I said, activate out of the graveyard is their play style, and their graveyard is your secondary hand. It's like being able to go into him. You can go into Black Rose if you need to. You can go into level 8 like Beals if you want to, or Scrap Dragon, Stardust, Spark Dragon. All these cards are very interesting, very good to use. It's like you can put a lot of pressure on your opponent if you have this card on the field, because they have to stop you, or if you let the effects go through, it's usually too late.
True.
Because it's like then you can either Black Rose them or blow up their board, or you can make an Exciton Knight, whatever you need to. Then for the other heart of the deck,
that's okay.
×3 Mizukis. This card basically is your Monster Reborn without having one. because it lets you bring back any zombie of any level without any restriction from your graveyard to the field in any position, attack or defense, doesn't matter.
Yeah, you don't have to explain everything.
He's basically he's your comeback play or your very aggressive push play. If you're playing this card, usually it's like you can go for a Zombie Master, Unizombie, set up your graveyard even more, or if you just want to push for game, this is the card to do it because you constantly spam this card if you have it. And this is usually the first card you send to the graveyard.
I gotcha.
Because this card lets you go into extensive plays such as Exceeds or Synchros if you need to, or if you have to stall, this is the card to do it as well.
You have to go into depth as much.
I don't?
No.
Alright.
You're fine.
Then I play one Plague Spreader for being able to reset my hand if I have to, if I draw dead.
And that's an ulti Plague Spray.
Yes.
I'm sorry, just the bling on this deck just makes me feel like old school.
A lot on making this deck actually.
I know.
But Plague Spreader is also level 6 Synchros, and he lets you go into a bunch of different plays if you need to, or you reset your hand if you don't want to draw a certain card. Nice. Or if you want to stack the 7th one and be that guy.
True.
Then the searcher of the deck is Goblin Zombie, which lets you add any zombie from your deck with 1,200 less defense from your deck to your hand. Basically, all he does is he sets up for synchros. He searches anything because it's whenever he's sent to the graveyard. It doesn't like whenever he's sent from field to graveyard. It doesn't have to be destroyed or anything, which makes him very versatile. It also is a miller. So if he attacks your opponent and they makes a mill a card, usually that sets them back. Alright. So my last personal tech is Shujin Doji, which is the comeback play or the recycler, because he recovers a banished zombie from your graveyard since it goes in key with Mizuki.
Gotcha.
Because you put Mizukis back on top of your deck, then you can draw them again.
Yeah.
Play one of him, and then that rounds up the monsters.
On to the spells.
Now I'm going to do the spells. First spell is Soul Charge. Soul Charge is that explode card. It's basically if you have aggressive push, you can do it then.
Make setups, stuff like that.
It's also a lot of setup. It can be used Soul Charge. You can only 1 to 2 cards is usually enough. And then there's Foolish Burial, which is again setup. It lets you set up your graveyard for Mizuki or Unizombie or any other card that can let you go into an extensive play.
Yep.
I like Book of Moon because it's a very versatile card. It's also not just a defensive, but you can play it as an offense card. And it also, your opponent knowing that you have this has to play around it. Because it doesn't destroy it or anything, it just flips it down, which usually sets them back a lot. Raigeki for clearing the boards and being aggressive. And it's like if you're going for the OTK and you want to clear off their field, you can do it with the Raigeki. For drawing, I play Allure of Darkness, which helps with the consistency factor of being able to draw at least 2 cards. Can usually set up either a dead hand to a playable hand. For 2 more Monster Reborns, it's Book of Life.
Yep.
Being able to banish and special summon a monster at the same time from your opponent's, banishing a card from your opponent's graveyard and being able to summon at the same time is actually very valuable. Especially against decks like Stellar Knights and Burning Abyss when they can't pull cards out of their graveyard anymore. The recovery card also is Burial from Different Dimension. It lets you bring back all your banished, up to 3 banished monsters, which is pretty key to this deck, being able to come back if you use up a lot of your resources. For consistency, 3 Upstart Goblins. For drawing, getting those dead hands to be better. Then I don't like back row and dealing with it, so I play
3 MST.
I'm not dealing with that back row. I'm not dealing with lose turns.
Trap lineup next?
Yes, for traps, I don't play as many traps as most people, but I play 1 Bling Blast right now.
Alright.
The reason I play this is to reset cards like Exceeds, usually, or Synchros. It throws them back to the deck and it gets these dead zombies out of my hand, such as Mizuki
And stuff of that nature. That makes sense.
The same thing with 2 Karma Cuts, and also deals with monsters that I know they have multiples of, such as for example, Stellar Knights, Deneb.
True.
If you kill all their Denebs at once, this is the card to do it. Pitching a zombie like Mizuki is a plus, and then being able to get rid of their cards that they need is also another plus. Play 3 Mind Crush to deal with a lot of cards that search, like especially decks that the main thing right now in decks is to search from deck to hand. And this card basically kills Necros. And also being able to see what their hand is and know what they have is also kind of important. Then I also play 2 breakthrough skills to deal with cards on the field and then in the graveyard. This card's also very useful for being able on your turn if they try to play through like Moral Tech or any kind of Call the Haunted, try to search, do whatever, you just say no to them.
True.
If I borrow your tablet for a second, what do you need to do?
Then for the last card for main deck is Vanity's Emptiness, which is self-explanatory.
And that runs at the trap lineup?
Yes, and this is 40 cards exactly.
40 cards, okay.
Alright, for the extra deck, we'll start with the Exceeds. Exceeds is Exciton to blow up the board to clear out anything I don't want to deal with, and if Exciton is like the card, if they have stuff, they'll have to use it now.
Gotcha.
Then Daigusto Emerald is basically a resource reviver. If I use a lot of my cards early game, he's usually pretty key to getting stuff back to be able to draw as well. Exceeds Rebellion Dragon is basically for the OTKs. You can set up huge boards, and he's the card to break big monsters and make himself gigantic, which makes him a problem to deal with. Then 101 is to take whatever I don't feel like dealing with, especially if it's a card that can't be destroyed.
True.
Or if it's a card that's really big and I can't get over it, I can usually make 101 and then they have to destroy it twice. Castel is a versatile, if I want to reset the game basically, I can use him on myself and my opponent. Basically just to recycle the game, or if I don't want to deal with a card, or if there's a card on the board that's a problem, I can get rid of it. Cowboys for game is usually for finishing blow. Kind of the salt mode blow. Where it's like if you have you can't get over anything else and this is the card to make. I like Ragnazero for the fact that he gets over a lot of search engine cards. Like if you have like Tanky on the board, he's pretty important because he can deal with the bears and he can also deal with Cleforce and when they increase their own attack. And he gets rid of if they're increasing their attack in any way, he's the card to make, and also he lets you draw, so it's kind of good too. Then Dweller, because graveyard decks are very huge, Shadal's, Burning Abyss. Then you got your rogue decks that do the same thing, and he deals with that problem, not being able to activate cards. Then for Synchros, for level 8s I play Bills, Scrap Dragon, Stardust Spark Dragon ×1, and Dark End Dragon. The reason I play Scrap Dragon and Beals is because they loop together. Because you can target Beals with Scrap Dragon and pop him, but he won't be destroyed by card effect, and then you can blow up a card for free.
That's Scrap Dragon on the right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, there was just a glare. I apologize.
Yeah, if I need to move.
No, you're fine, you're fine.
Then Stardust Spark Dragon is to keep my vanities alive, and basically so my opponent can't play.
Gotcha.
Then Dark End Dragon, if it can't be destroyed, I'll send it to the graveyard. Which gets around Draco Sack and all those other problematic cards. Then I have, for level 6s, Psyhemoth and Revive King Hades, which basically kills every kind of search card you could ever want to think of.
Yeah.
He says no to pretty much everything.
That's it. Which one is that? It's Revive
King Hades.
Okay.
If it's basically, if we try to activate, I say no to anything. And then there's Psyhemoth, which deals with problem cards. If I don't want to deal with it, I can banish it.
Gotcha.
It's also a stepping stone to level 8.
Oh, so that's what you also use it for too. Okay.
Yes, I can use level 6s to step stone with Plague Spreader to level 8. Then my one level 7 is Black Rose, because nuking the board is usually kind of a problem for most decks. And that is the deck lineup.
So anything else you want to say about this deck, man?
I mean, I've been playing this deck for 6 years, so it's evolved with every format.
Yeah, I know. That's what you were talking to me about earlier.
Yeah, it's like this deck it can do a lot. It's just when you OTK, it's just dealing with the new cards is a problem sometimes, and then the ban lists.
True,
Because when cards like Lavalval Chain go away, it makes you cry on the inside.
Yes, we all know that feeling. So thank you very much, man.
No problem.
So till next time, guys, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling, I'll see you all next time. Good luck dueling to all of you. Take care, everybody.